What is up, you guys? We are here for our weekly romance oracle reading. Happy New Year! It's January 1st, so I love that the seeds we're planting are romantic ones. I love that this is also a Thursday, so Jupiter rules Thursday, which is, the planet of abundance and optimism, good fortune, manifestation. So that's exciting. Ooh, first card out, deception. Not exactly a welcome sight, but it's a good wake-up call. Sometimes we can deceive ourselves, or we can project onto others qualities they don't have because maybe we're attracted or we're, impatient or what have you. So sort of like when you go grocery shopping on an empty stomach, you start buying things that aren't good for you because you're impulse grabbing. And so to be able to approach the dating market and say, be attracted to someone and even like them, but see clearly whether or not long-term they are aligned with what you need and want. And if you have core compatibility, it takes discipline to be able to walk away from, something that might be enticing, but not quite aligned, right? So the more clarity we have around what we're truly calling in and what we want, and the more honest we are about that, then the faster we can get to what we want, because we are not tying ourselves up in things that aren't really aligned or aren't really, true to what we deserve or what we're ready for. So someone is wearing a false mask in this relationship. Now, there is like the rare occasion where, someone may be different than what they seem on the surface. And sometimes that is true, for the positive, right? Maybe somebody, it's like, don't judge a book by its cover, don't project positive qualities on someone as well as don't project negative qualities on someone as well. So I think it's good to be open into, getting to know people, but I think it's important that we get to know them honestly, and we look and honor who they really are and be present with that and be honest about that and honor them as a human being, as a person, and see them for their true self instead of trying to look at them and project what we want them to be. And that's not fair to them either, right? So I think going into this next chapter, we can start out by, eliminating that pitfall right off the bat. It's like committing to ourselves to showing up in every new, scenario, new possibility, meeting new people in an honest way. Not only honesty in how we're presenting, but being honest about who they are, what we're observing, and giving them a chance to show us who they are instead of us trying to control the narrative, right? Another, a specific example of that might be in like a male, female, cisgendered, straight scenario, classic, rundown. You might have a situation where a female might kind of pursue like flirting with a male or whatever, and they might go with it, but they may not be authentically like wanting to do that. Like, it might be a convenient bonus that's presented to them, and they're like, sure, I'll take this side quest for a minute and enjoy myself. And then when, they feel like the moment has come to its completion, then they're gonna, move forward. And it's like, you kind of like forced a counterfeit situation that wouldn't have occurred naturally, right? But had you just allowed someone to show you who they really were and like kind of stood back and like were the passive feminine and showed and let them show you whether or not they were showing any indication of interest or intent, right? And then you would have seen whether or not they would have made any effort unprompted on their own, in your direction. And I think that when they do make that effort unprompted, you're more than likely going to get someone who's genuinely interested and willing to make an effort. Whereas if you dangle bait in front of someone and egg them on, eventually they might give you what you want, but it might be only temporary because it wasn't really their initial intention anyway. So honesty is going to set us up for greater success in the end. All right, let's grab another card. Ooh, what was that? Oh, release your ex. I just was watching a video before I started this one about cord cutting to begin the year. And it wasn't just about like exes, but just about like getting rid of all of the energy that's like cluttering our aura and, you know, releasing things that have come and passed and aren't going to come to fruition so that we can make way for what is coming and what's on its way. So, you know, we can't really bypass processing the lessons that we needed to take away from our ex or the feelings that we might have about that relationship or the breakup, right? And we can't just bypass it. So we have to go through it, but we can't hold on to those feelings forever. At some point, we just have to let it go and move forward. And so if you've given yourself, you know, adequate time and attention and lent yourself to processing something, and you feel like you've taken away the lesson, or maybe maybe part of the fully like embodying the lesson is being able to finally move forward and stop waiting on closure or to see if something will change, to just fully let go and cut the cord and move forward. And do not keep looking over your shoulder like, you know how sometimes we'll be told in spirituality by the cards or by a reader or by the universe sending synchronicities that we need to cut the cord and let our ex go. And we know that deep down we're like, if I let them go, will they come back? Like, is that how I get them to come back? And it's the kind of thing where in order to fully let someone go, you have to let them go as if you might never see them again and really let go and just make it a closed book, closed chapter. And if it resurfaces later, maybe there's something that's changed and then now it's aligned, but probably not, you know? So I think you have to just close the book on something for real and say it's complete. And be real and honest with that, and then move forward and don't keep looking back. Don't do it because I think this is going to help him come back to me. If I do all the things right, then he'll come. Like, you have to just let go and move forward, and maybe the universe will send you something better and something that like transcends what you could have ever had with that person, but they ain't it. So let go and move into new chapters, new stories, new characters coming in. All right, let's see. Passion, making room for something really passionate. You know, if you are increasing your light and your magnetism, you're going to have an increase in options. And so it's going to be up to us to be discerning about which options we want to explore. And we want to be able to keep ourselves available for, you know, things that are truly aligned. And so I'd say it's that old adage, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no, right? You know, there's got to be some aspect of a hell yes that you want to try to explore this avenue. And maybe like, say, you have a date with someone that you're not like super physically attracted to, but you really hit it off personality wise. Like maybe that's someone that you maybe give a second try to. If they have like aligned values and there's a possibility of long-term potential with, you know, those aligned core things. But if it's someone who it's like, it's only, you know, it's all like, there's no attraction and no real connection. And it's like, nah, I don't think so. Or maybe just kind of like mediocre, lukewarm. No, we're holding out. There's going to be passion. Sometimes when you're not initially attracted to someone, but you have like other things that you get that fire you up about the person, you can grow an attraction. And that can, like, I've actually been around, like, I remember this dude in college who I was not attracted to. In fact, I thought he was kind of weird looking and a little bit ugly. But then he had such an attitude, and like, I don't know, we ended up hitting it off after like being in the same friend group for a minute, and like we would kind of make out sometimes, and it was just like very fiery. There was a lot of chemistry there, and had I initially just blown him off because I thought he was weird looking, like I wouldn't have known, right? So, but you know, sometimes like chemistry can grow. So, but if you don't feel anything for someone, or if you're only lukewarm and you're like, well, I could make it work, maybe, like, just don't settle, because being trapped inside something that's not ideal is worse than just being kind of solo and open for something really aligned to come in. So, but I think that there are like real contenders coming. So we don't want to tie ourselves up with a bunch of people that are just like whatever, just to be space holders. We need to keep that space open. Reconciliation. Let's see. Someone from your past is returning to your life. Be discerning about that. That could be the universe testing you to see if you'll settle instead of holding out for something real, because like we did have, release your ex, right? So if that ex comes back, remember that the first card we started with was deception. Someone's wearing a false mask in this relationship. So the test might be, oh, look at this ex resurfacing. You know, you could have a lot of passionate memories, but maybe it was always wrong, right? And maybe giving yourself a chance for something new to come in, you might have something spectacular right around the corner that you haven't, it's going to be a fresh start in a new person, but you don't know how that's going to be yet because you don't know that it's coming. So don't be too fast to fall for a nostalgic feeling, or jumping to conclusions, or thinking that someone has grown and changed. Maybe they really haven't. So careful. I feel like this reading is a warning. It's like there's deception, release your ex, passion, and reconciliation. So I think that there is passion ahead for us. I think that there are great possibilities coming, but I also think that when that is the truth of the situation, the opponent also tries to throw in a decoy. So we could be, you know, shown a very tempting, passionate decoy, maybe actually someone from our past, or someone who is like reminiscent or archetypally represents the people that we would get hook up with in our past, right? Or maybe it's someone from a past life. Either way, I think we should be very sensitive to our inner direction and listen past those carnal feelings of desire and excitement and allure, and listen to that inner voice within. And we all know that inner voice within, like, we know it tells us like, this isn't it, but we do it anyway. You know, we've heard it before, or even like we've heard the voice when we're in something that could have potential, and our anxious attachment is acting up and causing us to be, you know, paranoid. And like that inner voice is like, just relax, don't ruin this, don't do anything crazy. And then you're like, no, and you do the paranoid thing, and then it causes a thing, right? So we all know that there's that little voice within. But usually we can't help ourselves, and we ignore that voice and we listen to the louder voice, and it makes us react in a way that usually causes us to make a choice or take an action that we maybe it's a little bit regretful, right? So take it slow, be discerning, be wise, and you know, you can feel something out over time without making any regrettable actions or choices that you can't take back, right? So let's grab a couple of more cards for insight. Let's see. Let's get a little bit more information on deception. What do we need to know about that? Ooh, Chariot. Okay, so Chariot is about like moving forward, even moving fast, right? So like a lot of times when we start out with someone and we're excited, all of the initial rush of novelty and romance and hormones causes you to move fast, like faster than you should, faster than what's stable. And even if both people are in agreement, they're like, yeah, let's keep moving fast. Like, let's keep taking this forward. Usually the masculine in the situation is going to come to a screeching halt at some point, and it's all going to catch up to them at once. And they're going to be like, oh my gosh, all this happened so fast. I didn't mean for it to get this far this quickly without, thinking it through. So sometimes that means that they're going to pull back, right? Or freak out completely. Or you've rushed through a relationship that could have had long-term potential, but you didn't build a solid foundation because everything went so fast in the beginning, and you kind of burned it all out before you could give it a chance. And so what really, like, for a good relationship that's going to be long-term, like, you kind of want a slow burn. You want to get a smolder, like smoldering coals going, not like a raging fire that burns all your material out, right? You want those coals that you can use, like, to cook by and to run the household day in and day out, right? When you think about, like, stoking a fire and the usefulness of a fire and in terms of the household, like, relating that to a relationship, that burning, blazing fire is exciting for a moment, but it gets hot, right? And you're going through so much of your firewood. You're just burning out hot and bright, but you're burning through everything that you have. Whereas if you keep, like, smoldering embers going, you're putting out, like, a sustainable heat, and you're using a sustainable amount of material, and you can use that heat constructively, right? You can cook food with it. You can warm yourself by it. You can dry your clothes next to it, right? It's not so hot that it's destructive. So slow and steady wins the race. And if you are, like, super excited by someone and all of their charms and their shininess, you can't see them for who they really are. You're seeing them through rose-colored glasses when you move too quickly. So basically, in relationships, if we want to get to our goal, we're going to get to the goal of, like, a serious partner and a real commitment faster if we take it slow. When we go fast, we get what we want slower because we think we've got what we want, and then it backfires, and then we have to start over, right? So slowing down gets us to our desire faster than trying to speed there, right? You want to build a bond slowly where you can build esteem and friendship and mutual respect. Okay, now let's get a little bit more insight on release your ex. I have, like, my new fresh day planner for the year with all the astrological stuff in it, and I'm like, I didn't get to open it yet today. I'm going to be working on the 2026 prediction series, guys, but I'm sure that we are close to a full moon if it's not tomorrow, because I saw it out today on my walk and it looked like it was almost a perfect circle with maybe just, like, one little sliver left. So if it wasn't tonight, it's definitely probably tomorrow. Okay, challenging times. So release your ex. This is 5 of Wands. So 5 of Wands is about, like, competition and competing goals and interconflicting desires. So what that means, I think, for us is if we're trying to attract in true love, and we still have bits of our ex's energy in our aura, then we, like, they're kind of adding, like, they're acting as a shield. They're acting as, like, a repellent for new energy to come in because that space is taken, right? It's like like a dog pees on a tree to, like, mark their territory. Like, the energy is still, the energetic signature of that person's, like, tikkun correction, their soul residue, it's still on you in some way. So we need to really release that person without any regrets, no looking back. There's no more harsh feelings. There's no more impassioned feelings towards them at all. It's just completely been neutralized and transformed and transmuted, and you're ready to move forward and let someone else in. If you're still holding a torch for someone in the past, even if you are ready to meet someone new, there's, like, this subconscious resistance in letting new people in because that interconflicting desire is trying to protect your your unspoken contract to want to hold out for this person to come back into your energy field. So it's important that we cut those cords. It's important that we release these people and let them go. The interesting thing to me about cutting cords is that I thought it was just something that was like a new age sort of like terminology or idea or something witchy. But actually it's an ancient Christianity, because in the Aramaic original version of the Lord's Prayer, the we forgive us as we forgive others, or forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, is the original wording directly from Aramaic is, loosen the cords of our mistakes which bind us, as we release the cords with which we have bound others. Now, in the prayer, the Ana B'Choach, that we pray in Kabbalah and in Judaism, this is a prayer that is called the 42 names of God, or the 42 letter name of God. And it is like a poem, or like a psalm, or like a song to God. And one of the lines says, like, loosen loosen our knotted fates, or like, use the strength of your right hand to untangle the cords of our knotted fates, or something along those lines. But the right hand is referencing the right column energy of the tree of life, which is the column of mercy, column of giving, abundance, of forgiveness, right? And so we have to, forgive those soul contracts as we have been forgiven. We need to untangle these knots and in all of these things that keep us connected to someone. If we're angry at someone, that keeps us connected to them. It ties us to them energetically. I saw the most horrific, like, stupid license plate. It was a vanity plate when I was grocery shopping this afternoon, like just before I made this video. And it was, so I live in Nashville, and for the most part, like, people are fairly, like, inclusive and diverse, and, welcoming, LGBTQ plus, accepting and celebrating, and all cultures and, races are pretty much, they get along, everybody's happy neighbors, But there are a few, I think, bad apples, but they're usually kind of like clustered all in their own little areas. But for the most part, I think people in Tennessee, at least in Middle Tennessee and places, different, I'm not going to like limit this to Middle Tennessee, but there are people who have ignorant hatred towards people everywhere. But I think people outside of Tennessee see Tennessee as like a bigotry place, like a bigoted, stupid place, because our politics are really bad. But there's a lot of people here that don't really believe those things. It's just that our voting maps have been gerrymandered on purpose to keep us a red state. However, having said that, there are some of those bad apples. Like, for instance, that one night I was grocery shopping and I walked out of Aldi in this like cute tie-dyed silk like kimono thing, and this man yelled at me from his truck, "Go back to San Francisco." It's probably the same truck I saw tonight in the parking lot of the Kroger, and the license plate was this hate license plate. It had like these 3 letters that shortened a hate slur term against gay people, and then the last part of the license plates like spelled out the word hater. So it was like hater. And I'm just thinking, like, what a fucking loser, what a fucking idiot moron would like go out of their way to like run an errand, like a difficult, like a pain in the ass errand, to get this like vanity plate made that is like now become their whole personality. Everywhere they go, this is like the statement that they want to make before them. And it's just like, there's nothing that makes you look gayer than that. It's like being like, I'm going to put it all over on my license plate that I hate this group of people. It's like, yo, you look like you're completely trying to mask something. It's just insane to me. I'm just like, it's just so ignorant and like so useless and futile to do shit like that. And yeah, it's just like, let it go. But I kept thinking about like this person, like if I saw them and like I was like just like in my imagination, I'd just be like, this ties you, like why are you so obsessed with this concept, this hatred, like why do you hold on to this and carry it through your life? You could just go about your life and never think about gay people and never be affected by them and go on about your business. But no, you want to have this as like something that you hold on to, like your vendetta, like your, credo every day of your life. It's like you're completely connecting yourself to something you don't like, cut the cords, like move on, stop thinking about it, right? So yeah, I just like, that's an example of like, you're completely tying yourself to an idea. I mean, it's the same as like being, obsessed about something that you perceive as dark or bad or evil. Whatever side you're on, if that obsession is completely controlling parts of your personality or aspects of your life, then that thing, you've given your power away to that thing and you're connected to that thing. You won't be able to get away from it, right? So making peace with the fact that like there are going to be things that you disagree with, and it's not that we become avoidant and complacent and just give up. But we can't have our emotions and our, like, we can't be so tied up and worked up about it that we lose our center, or that we become bent out of shape and separate ourselves from the Creator because we've become so lost in affect consciousness. All right, so releasing the ex, releasing the cords of anger towards the ex, right? Because a lot of us think, oh, I'm over that person, I can't stand them. But the can't standing them is connecting you to them as well. So you need to like neutralize so that they're so boring to you that you've forgotten all about them, essentially. All right, passion. Let's see, what do we need to know about passion? Ooh, change your focus. Again, a 5 has come up, so 5 of Cups. So instead of focusing on what you don't have, what you feel like you spilled out, what you feel like you lack, what you feel like you have disappointments and sorrows and sadness and regrets, like stop focusing on that and focus on what's ahead of you. Focus on what's coming in. Focus on things you love that fill you up, that make you excited, right? And fill your time and pouring yourself into that, and pouring yourself into all of the areas of your life that bring you joy and satisfaction and contentment and the charming, whimsical parts of your life, right? Make your life so rich that you don't feel like you're lacking anything, that you don't need anyone to come do anything big and grandiose for you, because you're just doing it yourself for yourself, right? And when you learn how to find contentment and give yourself those things, then you're feeling whole. And that's usually when another person can connect with you magnetically, because that relationship won't damage you and you won't damage the other person through that relationship, because you're not needy. Right? You're coming from a place of wholeness, and you can like bring that person in, and if they improve your life, then great. And if not, you have the power to walk away, because there's nothing in you that's lacking. All right? There's nothing in you that feels a desperation to cling to something that's not adding positivity and goodness to your life, right? So don't focus on what you don't have. This time of year can make us feel a sense of loneliness, of, oh, I wish I would have gotten this by now. Or, you might be a person who has had the relationship and that didn't work out. And so now you find yourself starting over, right? Life can bring us changes and turn things around so quickly that we don't even see it coming, right? So just change your focus and find your passion. Stoke your own passion in life, and then passion will be attracted to you. And trust. Okay, so reconciliation and trust. We have the Fool here. So the Fool is about like the beginning of a journey, right? We could have like a message here, like saying, like, if you're going to start fresh with someone, then be a completely new slate. Let them have a new slate. Let yourself have a new slate, coming at this from like a new set of eyes. If you're going to like try it again with someone, you really have to let the past go and truly reconcile for it to have a chance the second time around. You know, this isn't always the case. It's not always to get back together with someone that it didn't work out with, but sometimes maybe it was the circumstances. Maybe there has been growth, right? But be deeply discerning and like brutally honest with yourself before you just like lean in all the way and completely trust this. This can be like starting a new chapter or a new journey. It could be like the reconciliation, even it could have to do with like if you're single and you're not reconciling with anyone, it could be like reconciling your past, right? And everything. It's like paying off your debt finally and being free to move forward because you've reconciled all the lessons from the past. You have figured out like the things that people taught you and that you learned from different experiences, and you can let it go and with peace in your heart, with like positive feelings of appreciation that's shaped you and taught you and, you know, made you the person that you are, right? So you can move forward, never looking back, feeling completely free to like look at this person. It doesn't look like they're getting back with anyone. It looks like they're free from the past and they're moving forward completely, right? But each person will be different, you know, so discern what hits home for you, right? But this is a new path. There is reconciliation in the air. Only you will know truly what the universe is trying to offer you through this. Is it a learning experience? Is it the lesson that you are like, oh, I don't need this lesson again. I'm feel comfortable to let this pass me by. Maybe that's how you pass the test. You know, maybe this is like a chance for something new and fresh with someone from the past, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a chance for something new and fresh altogether, but it's about releasing the past. But I think that you know deep down, and I think the true exercise is to start to listen to your own inner voice, not anything outside of you telling you what to do, right? It's about, you know, we can look for voices and synchronicities and messages that help guide us there, but ultimately it's about trusting and listening to that and developing that relationship with that voice within the self, right? Because then if you don't, then you'll always be chasing someone to tell you the answer, right? And to make you feel like you want, I want another confirmation. I want another confirmation, right? And at some point we have to start to learn to take a leap of faith and trust like the message, or, you know, build our skills to discern the lesson from any given situation, build the skills to be able to interpret what the universe is trying to tell us. And a lot of times that we do know how to interpret what the universe is trying to tell us, but it's whether or not we want to listen to it or not. So a lot of it really does boil down to radical honesty with the self and taking ownership of the message that we're getting. All right, that is all for tonight. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening, and we will be back together tomorrow for our weekend reflection message. Stay tuned. I will let you guys know as soon as the 2026 prediction series is up. I will be working on that for the rest of the night this evening. And I will be continuing to watch my Harry Potter. I've been doing a rewatch of Harry Potter through the winter holidays because they're such cozy little movies. So I will have that on in the background. I will be working on the 2026 prediction series, getting that uploaded, and I'll let y'all know as soon as it's ready. You could follow me on Instagram at Liz_Taylor_Magick. And that's probably where you're going to see the link to snag that the fastest, because I'll probably immediately post it in my stories as soon as it's up in the Stan store. And I'll post it in my bio there first. All right, that is all for tonight. Peace.